in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks win it 123. They ain't just win it. They absolutely dominated the Charlotte Hornets tonight. 123 to 85. Come on in the room. And I feel good. I feel good about saying Doc is our doctor. He writes out all our scriptures. He gives us our medicine in our room. Bucks win at 123.85. Come on in the room. We are live at the Cream City crossover. It's the Guru Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Yeah. We in the building. Bucks beating the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Man, what an easy one. An easy one. You have to you relax. You have to be on the edge of your seat, not tense, just to relax for the evening tonight, as the Milwaukee Bucks took care of business early and throughout, holding the Charlotte Hornets to 26 points in the half. That was the lowest scoring half of any team in the NBA all season. So the Milwaukee Bucks got it done. Get at me on Twitter at TCIIESQ or in the YouTube chat. We got super chats going. If anybody wants, just feel so inclined, I just feel like I had to say it. You guys been doing a great job, so you're in here and we rocking with it. 123 to 85. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Let's do it. Let's get into this thing as we always do with the game recap. And of course, the game recap is always sponsored by the law office of Daly M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
Off the court. And here's the thing: the Bucks have been giving defense on the court. There was a time when the law office of Daly M. Johnson was the only defense that we saw in the state of Wisconsin. But right now, we're getting defense on the court, and then you can go get your defense off the court with the law office of Daly M. Johnson. Hit him up for your criminal defense, your trafficking OWI defense, your TROs or injunctions. All of that, he will help you out. If you leave in Fiserv form, you had a one too many, after celebrating the Bucks win, you're stumbling and bubbling out of the Fiserv tonight. Call my guy Daly M. Johnson if you get in trouble, and the good people of the Milwaukee Police Department out and checking you with them checkpoints. Now, don't get caught in a checkpoint. You might need to call the law office of Daly M. Johnson, Service Central, South Central Wisconsin, with all of that criminal defense. And you can get in touch with them, 608-893-8370. That's 608-893-8370. Go to his website. Yeah, there you go. And that's Siete Cero for our Spanish listeners. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up for a free phone or in-person consultation. Let's get right into it. The game recap again, 123 to 85. The Bucks hold another opponent, their fourth, I believe, in the Doc Rivers era, under 100 points. It only happened once in the Adrian Griffin era. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 24-8 in 24 and 24 minutes, 8 of 13 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, 7 of 8 from the line, only 1 turnover. He was a plus 25. I like it. Jay Crowder, 10.7 boards, 2 assists, 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, of plus 33. I like it. Brook Lopez, I don't know what you was doing, Brook. Hey, but he did contest a lot of shots, okay? Didn't score, but got 2 blocks, 2 steals, did his thing. Malik Beasley puts in 6 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. And Damian Lillard, what's the stat we always talk about, John? If the Bucks score, if he's over 50% shooting, I believe the Bucks are, what's their record? Are they 20-0, something like that now? I believe so. Whatever it is, they have not lost when Damian Lillard shoots over 50%. I'll check this. Carry the one. 8 for 14 is 57%. So the Bucks won tonight. 23, 9 and 7 from Damian Lillard. He was a plus 41 on the night. I like it. Bobby Portis. We talk about Bobby Portis all the time. What's he doing? Should the Bucks trade him? What do we need to do with Bobby Portis? Well, it seems like Bobby Portis and Damian Lillard have both found themselves around the same time. He goes for 21-8, 9 and 16 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He was a plus 34. I like it. Patrick Beverly with 7 points, a plus 13. I like it. Pat Connaughton went out. I like everything. Then even Danilo Gallinari got in on the action. He's still running around trying to throw the ball between his legs, getting turnovers like that. But again, I know everybody was balling. Somehow he ended up with a plus minus of 0. But again, it's okay. Danilo Gallinari is running out there doing his thing. No Andre Jackson Jr. He was not called up tonight. On the Charlotte Hornets side of things, Miles Bridges put up 17. Brandon Miller put up 14. Trey Mann with 16 points. Cody Martin, 2 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Seth Curry dropped in 8 points. And your boy, Grant Williams, put up 4 points and 7 boards. Nothing remarkable to talk about from the Charlotte Hornets side of things. Listen, the Milwaukee Bucks, and we talked about this, right? We talked about the Charlotte Hornets being 5-1 in their last 6 and how they've been playing like a different basketball team since the trade deadline. Well, you throw all that out of the water tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks came out and dominated. The Milwaukee Bucks did not take this team lightly. Again, 26 points in the half. They came out, what Pat Bev say? Belt to ass tour. The belt to ass tour continued, and this team looks different. They feel different. Again, you have a couple wins. Doc Rivers is now, I believe, 6-7. And he's creeping up to being a 500 coach with the Milwaukee Bucks if he can get a win on Thursday night against the Charlotte Hornets. Remember the question that was asked by my dad in the last chat, where the question was, is the trap game tonight or is it going to be Thursday night? Well, the trap game is going to be Thursday night, because anytime you go out and absolutely dominate a team, the Bucks are going to win this game by 60 points if they wanted to. You got to go out. Can you replicate that again on Thursday? Can you go out and see the same team who you just beat up in the mouth, like you just went Cam Newton at the 7-on-7 camp to these Charlotte Hornets, right? You just threw them out the club. You know they're gonna come back and want to beat you on Thursday night. Can you do that again next Thursday? Can you treat this team the exact same way? I think the Bucks can. I think the Bucks are on a different foot. They look like a different team. I like what they're giving. I like what you're putting down. The Bucks win at 123-85. Listen, I don't have any complaints tonight. That's what I see. What you see, JT?
Same. Listen, the belt to ass tour continued, and you know the thing that's interesting about tonight is it seemed like the Hornets. Again, I was thinking about it. I don't know where they was at. Right? Did they the pregame meal? I jokingly told y'all what they eat. They taste the soul. They ate that soul food. Right? Came out lethargic. Was a little bit sleepy. Had that itis. I don't know. Maybe it was so good. I'm not really sure. But either way, the Hornets just didn't compete. Any way you slice it. I mean, 10 points in the second quarter is absolutely pitiful for an NBA team. Second thing, you realize not a single player on the Hornets had not only double digits in the first half, but the most shots anyone made from the field was two in the first half. Man, that is absolutely pitiful. I mean, the Hornets just didn't compete tonight, and good to see the Bucks keep their foot on the gas. That was most important thing, right? Up 16 after the first, and you just kept going. You know, conversely, on the other side, man, let's talk about the Bucks stars.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Trey was drinking. He was drinking some San Pellegrino, and I didn't have him on the camera. He thought he was. He wasn't on the camera. It was just you.
You good.
Hey, my man was on the San Pellegrino, bro. Like you like the sparkling water?
No, man, this is good. No, go ahead. This is good though. I'm surprised. It's a very good drink.
Bro, you know what? Listen, man, I'm a little more of a Topo Chico guy, man. Right? Get you a little bit of Topo Chico, right? Throw that thing in the lime. Actually, you can get the other flavor Topo, man. Put the 818 tequila in there, right? There you go. It's called ranch water. Anyway, right? I know nothing about it, but hey, I've just been exposed to a few things in life. Anyway, so getting back into this thing. The Bucks, the same thing. First half, they came out the gate, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some because I want to make sure we put respect on this man's name. But man, Bobby Portis. I love the way he came out in the first half. 7 for 11, 16 points. Looks solid. Even 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. Obviously, Dame and Giannis. Man, look, we talk about this all the time. This team runs through. What do we say? It really runs through Dame. Dame plays well. Everybody good, right? Dame in that first half, 6 for 11, loving it. And Dame had 16 as well. So looking at how this team came out between Dame, Giannis, and Bobby, right? And look at how the Hornets didn't show up. I mean, I think this team is going to be very, very good. I felt like, on the other hand, Brook Lopez kind of just didn't show up on offense tonight, but it's okay. It didn't matter. 2 steals, 2 blocks. I'll take it. Brook Lopez, right? Did he finish with a donut on the stat sheet? Did Brook go scoreless tonight?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Brook. I don't know about that, man. But you know what? Okay, we'll live with it. So that's really what I saw. I saw this Bucks team come out, clobber this Hornets team. I saw the Hornets just could not recover. Kind of like we talk about it all the time. The boxer that gets punched early on in the fight can't get their legs underneath them for the duration of it. And I want to take a moment though. And I want to acknowledge Bobby Portis, right? Because not only has he had above his season average in 7 out of the last 8 games. but he has also shot above 50% from the field in 6 of the last 8 games. And that is significant because we talked about Bobby. If Bobby's not giving you buckets, what's Bobby giving you, right? In addition to the fact that I think the effort on defense too, man, we got to get this dude some credit because we was ready to ship him off. We was ready to ship him off, get the pick, whatever it is we can get back. And the fact that we've kept him and Bobby has responded since the All-Star game or since maybe a little bit before, got to get that credit there. Got to give him credit, just like we're giving Dame credit now too.
I think they were very unselfish tonight, and I think that was a big part of why they were able to blitz them so early. I think, Dame looked super comfortable. He got what he wanted early. He almost outscored the Hornets in the first quarter if they didn't hit like a last-second three from Seth Curry, I believe it was. So he had 14 points. They had like 13. He looked great, and that's what you want. That's what you see in the Portland days from Dame is like, all right, he sets the tone right away. And him and Bobby really in the first half, I thought they both played really well. They let the game come to him. Dame just looks way more aggressive, and he's not doing the foul baiting thing anymore. He's actually getting to the rim and finishing at the rim, and then it opens up some big looks from three, whether it be him or some of his other teammates. Like I saw he had a nice kick out to Beasley in the first quarter. So it was just a very complete first half and then second half, of course, too. But the first half was really what set the tone, I believe. They were great on both ends of the ball. I thought they were swarming some of these younger guards that the Hornets have, and I think that really got to them. I loved seeing Pat Beverly out there with Dame. I think that is a real lineup that you can go to when there may be a guard-heavy team that you're playing in the playoffs. So I love seeing that. I think Pat played well as well, and just from top to bottom, it was great. So I have no complaints. It was a great win, and this is what you should be doing, though. Like the people said in the comments, I was telling JT before the game, Trey's asking us if there's a trap game in between these two. I don't think there should be, honestly. I think that they know that this is a younger team that they've pretty much owned this season, and I think that this could be a real opportunity to go on a real win streak.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity. It's standing right there before you. It's an opportunity not just to go on a win streak, but to show the league what you're doing and what you're about, and to show them, hey, this isn't the Bucks from November or December or even January. Like, this is a totally new basketball team. And again, it's what we were talking about, what you want to see post deadline, post All-Star break. This looks like a different team, and we'll see if that continues. Listen, I'm impressed. I will say again, I'm impressed. I think you're right. Is it what the Bucks are supposed to be doing? Yeah, 100%. That's what you want to see. That's what they should look like against inferior opponents. But it's good to see because you hadn't seen that in the past from them. And they're doing it in a different way. Like, they are doing it. Like, it's not just like they're just out. Boom! I'm gonna put up 140 on everybody. They're winning, but they're winning in a totally different style than they were at the beginning of the year. And it's kind of fascinating to watch a team change like this. And it's almost an identity change throughout the course of the season. And of course, that's what happens when you get a new coach. I guess you could almost say, did the Bucks have an identity during the year, during the Adrian Griffin era? And now they do. So, maybe that's a little bit different, but listen, and I was as skeptical as any about, seeing a change, not so much that it was Doc Rivers, but just that there was going to be a change in the middle of the season. Very skeptical, but so far you are seeing the returns pay out. Like, this is what you want to see. That if you talk about Bobby Portis, John, and one things that Doc Rivers, I think he was almost talking directly to Bobby Portis, but not just him. One of the things, and it's funny because I remember, who was I'm gonna have to look it up. The coach of the Phoenix Suns, probably a few years ago, was it Earl? It wasn't Earl Boykins. I'm gonna have to look it up. He's Earl Watson, absolutely. Yep. One of the things he talked about when he got to Phoenix, and again, he had a failed campaign in Phoenix, he was fired. But one of the things he said he did when he took over that basketball team was he took everybody and went down the line and told, this is your defined role. This is what you do. Here's how you're going to play. And that was an article just came out on Doc Rivers that he basically did the same thing to this basketball team, where he went and told, and because I think that, again, that's the problem when you treat your coach like he's a substitute teacher. Nobody knows what they're doing. No, everybody, like he said, guys had defined roles, and people who thought they had a leash that was this long, maybe your leash isn't as long as it once was. And the things you can get away with when the substitute is in the class versus the things you can get away with when the principal comes to the class, It's night and day. And Doc Rivers had to remind those guys, not only am I in charge, but this is the way we're going to do things. They look much more disciplined. They look more focused. They look like they communicate. And that's on both offense and defense. And again, it's one of those things where I keep saying it's not so, especially on the defensive side of the ball, it's not so much scheme, but it's the little things. Communicating, switching, being crisp in what you're doing. It's the little things. And I mean, this is, somebody said that like that Doc Rivers is basically black Bud. He's black Mike Budenholzer. Like that's what you're seeing. This is a Mike Budenholzer team in a different shade. And offensively, I think the Bucks have been a little bit slower. Offensively, coming around in the Doc Rivers, but I think that's simply because I do see more adjustments in the way the scheme is worked on offense. But again, that's coming around the corner too, because you're seeing, like he talked about, like they was talking about in that article, defined roles. And it's something the Bucks needed. It's something the Bucks needed, and it looks like it's paying off right now.
Yeah, I would say that takes a level of fortitude, right, for new coaches to come in and do that and switch this up and literally have the audacity to go to these guys and define their roles again or redefine their roles in the middle of the year, right? Because they already probably had their roles, or maybe they were just kicking it under Dr. Griffin. I'm not really sure. But, credit to Doc, man. Listen, as much grief as we gave Doc over the All-Star break, as much grief as we gave that man for the comments, as much grief as we gave his team, Doc was in his bag. I don't know where Doc was at for the full All-Star break, but Doc was in his bag. I gotta give him credit, because this Bucks team does look different than the Bucks team we saw before, right? It 100% does. Mm-hmm. So yeah, whatever Doc did, I don't know what he did. Maybe he hit the golf course for one last time, got back into work mode. I'm not really sure, but the adjustments, the way this team looks, the way this team is responding, which is the most important thing, it looks almost night and day different. So certainly hope this Bucks team can keep this up. And let's, I'm excited to watch this team hopefully build momentum going into the playoffs. And how many more games we got left? 23?
23, yeah.
23 games. Hey, let's get it. 23 games, man. No reason why this team can't win the majority of those games.
You're also starting to see the effects of what that article was talking about. Like today, I didn't see Bobby do much of that black hole stuff. I saw Jay Crowder get out in transition and then give it up to a guard instead of trying to go like a wild layup for himself. And so you're already seeing these guys buy in, and I think that's the biggest part of what we wanted. That's the biggest part of why we brought in a guy like Doc Rivers, because he's not going to lose the locker room. He's going to get these veteran players to buy in. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's 100% good to see. Let's get to a couple of comments here before we get into the first topic, asking if the defense is fixed. 608 UW says, come on in. Absolutely. Colin Racine, always on the program, says, glad to see the Bucks dominate a lesser opponent. So many years of them losing these games. Warren Price says, as maligned as Doc is on the national media, he has stabilized this team. Of course, he will only be judged by what happens in the playoffs, but so far he's done a great job with this team. Warren, you're absolutely right. Everything's going to be judged on what he does in the playoffs. I don't disagree with that at all. Brenda Word says, what about TA? He was hilarious. I'm in Charlotte, so I'm watching Bally's in Charlotte, and Eric Collins, who is the play-by-play guy. Of course, he has Dale Curry with him on the color. But Eric Collins was very funny talking about Thanasis. He has to, again, it's hard when you're getting beat by 40 all night long and you can't hardly score. I mean, there's a lot that goes into trying to keep a game entertaining at that point. But yeah, he was kind of sick. I think they were all kind of sick of Thanasis getting a technical foul and kind of running around. You know, Thanasis does his thing. And then we'll do one more. James Henderson, I want to get to your question, but after we go through this, because we've talked about it a little bit, but I do want to get into Chris Middleton and what the Bucks are going to do when he comes back. But we'll hold off on that one. And one more, it says, Daniel Gonzalez says, can we give some props to Jay Crowder? Also, his defense has been great. And then 11 King says, great game, shorter pod tonight. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can do if we can shorten this thing up. Because, again, on a nice night where the Bucks win, you think you don't have to work very hard. It's not a lot that you got to get into, but who knows? We always find a way. But, yeah, I think Jay Crowder, definitely defense has been really good. And again, he's finding his shot. If he can find his shot along with the defense, again, he's not PJ Tucker just yet. He's not that, but very close, and we'll have the offense to back it as well. I do want to ask you this along the same lines of Jay Crowder going with the defense. Let's get into our next topic here. Is it simple question again, John? They held the Hornets again. I know it's the Hornets, but 26 points in the first half. Another opponent held under 100 points 4 times now in the Doc Rivers era. Have the Milwaukee Bucks defense, has it been fixed? Entire thing. Or can you definitively say now, hey, we got a defense that can compete, bar none?
So here's what I'll say. I'm not going to definitively say anything. What I certainly will say, and what I think is obvious, is that this team with the same personnel, obviously the addition of Pat Bev, right? But what I certainly will say, right, and I guess the subtraction of Robin Lopez, right? But this team, obviously, with this personnel, is playing up to, I think, this personnel's capability. Right, like I think you're starting to see that. I don't know if it's fixed. I don't know if it's that, but what we saw previously, I mean, was abysmal. There's just no way to put it. It was abysmal. Even under Dr. Griffin, as much as we wanted to big up Dr. Griffin, Doc's pretty much taking the same group of personnel guys, and he has his team looking like a competent bunch defensively. He's gotten this team. I think right now is it the last 10 games? Is this team? This is a top 10 defense over the last 10 games. It's got to be, right. Yeah, this top 5 probably actually. I mean, you holding people to less than 100 points. I mean, I think schematically, I think some of the adjustments that Doc has made are, I don't want to say it's fixed, but I think this defense has gotten a lot better. I think this personnel. I remember, before the trade deadline, we were thinking they needed to make some significant trades to get better defenders. But I think with this personnel, Doc has found something that works. And, small sample size, but I think it's on its way, right? I think the defense is on its way to us being able to say, hey, this is fixed. But, again, it's a very small sample size at this point, and we're about to get into the teeth of the schedule in the next 10 days.
Yeah, there's definitely some tweaks that have been made, and I think guys are definitely playing harder, and they're playing for each other, and it's more of of continuity on this defense. I think they really want to create turnovers and get out in transition. I think that's why you see so much offense too in these past couple games. And so I don't know if I'm ready to say the defense is fixed just based off of a couple games, but it's definitely better. I would say that there are some lulls throughout the games where people are still getting open shots. Hornets just couldn't make anything tonight. So I think they could still kind of fix that. They were I think it was in the second quarter, even though they held them to scoreless with 8 minutes a scoreless run of 8 minutes and 26 seconds, they still got open looks. They were just missing everything, and the Bucks were kind of feeding into it. I think it was 38-24 for a long time until the Bucks finally started to pour it on them. So there are some lapses still where I feel like they could improve, but that'll come. I think that they fixed the right things already.
Yeah, and I didn't think it took my thought process on the defense was you were going to need personnel changes more so than a ton of tweaks schematically. And again, I don't think Doc has he made some schematic changes. Yes, I think they've been more tweaks on the defensive end versus wholesale changes. But to Doc's credit, you said it, JT. He's done it with the same group of guys. Like there wasn't, Patrick Beverley was the only major addition to this basketball team. It wasn't like they brought in a whole new swath of guys and that's what changed the team. It was, no, Damian Lillard is going to give me buy-in. And again, we've talked about this on the last couple shows now. I've seen Damian Lillard playing like he gives a damn on defensive end. I've seen Malik Beasley playing smarter, being in better position. Jay Crowder has really looked good defensively. Doc Rivers has changed up what Giannis is doing, letting him be even back to being a roamer instead of hugging up on three-point shooters. And Brook Lopez back to being down inside the paint. And again, when you have that better, because again, what the difference with this basketball team to me is not so much because again, even Adrian Griffin had given up on Brook Lopez trying to defend guys and had let Brook go back and drop. I think, and Doc has even emphasized that even more. But the difference is you just don't have straight line drivers coming at Brook every second of the day. And it's very hard when you have to contain a straight line drive where nobody's playing any defense and nobody can stay in front of anybody. And you have your big rolling to the basket behind it. They put Brook Lopez in some really tough positions, just like I said a couple months ago. And now that's not happening. So again, Doc Rivers with, like you said, largely the same group of guys, same personnel, has changed, has fixed his defense, largely with buy-in, largely with effort. And again, you saw that effort, you saw it when they, in the last 5 minutes, because again, talk about top 5 defense in the last 10 games, John, in the clutch, the Bucks were always a top 5 defense. Like in the clutch moments, they were top 5 offense, top 5 defense. And it shows you when you have the buy-in and you have a group that's going to collectively work together, they were going to get stops and find ways to play well at end of games. Now you're just seeing a more concerted effort throughout the entire game. And again, it's I give all respect and all credit to Doc Rivers, which gets me to our next topic here. We asked about the defense fix. Is Doc Rivers so it sounds like we said we think we're on the right path, but you don't know if it's fixed entirely just yet. Sounds like that's what both of you guys said. JT, Chris, I ask you now, and in the chat, let us know, is Doc Rivers is he the guy? Is he the guy? And again, I told you, and I can't remember who said it on Twitter, but they called him, Black Budenholzer. If you're calling him that, is he not? Because he can't just be the guy in the regular season. Maybe he's fixed some of those issues, but are you ready to believe that this is a guy that you can carry into the playoffs? And again, that matchup, I'm looking at it right now. Let me look at it right now, John Tyus, Chris King. Right now, if you go to the standings, your first round matchup will be the Milwaukee Bucks against the Miami Heat. That's your first round matchup. Doc Rivers, Eric Spoelstra. Do you feel confident right now that Doc Rivers is going to, like I said, not have circles ran around him by a guy like Eric Spoelstra? How confident are you that Doc Rivers is the guy that can win a championship with this team?
Well, listen, so our Heat fans that listen to this, right? We got to be honest here. I would say a significant talent gap between the Bucks and the Heat, right? So I think, barring a complete disaster, this team's playing this way.
That was true. That was true last year as well.
I mean, yeah, I get that, right? But there were some other things going on, I think, with this Bucks team, right? You had the issues with Bud. You just had a couple of anomalies there in that first round too. But I would say this year's team, with Dame playing the way he's playing, Giannis is playing the way he's playing, right? Chris coming back playing the way he's playing, Pat Bev, Beasley being one of the best 3-point shooters, Brooke doing his thing from time to time, and Bobby showing up as well, then being able to get contributions from guys like Derry Bird coming off the bench and hitting it. There's no way. I just don't see us. I don't see the Bucks losing that matchup. Now, having said that, you asked a question about Doc. Is Doc the guy? And listen, right, to our listeners, what I would say and what I say to you guys is, Doc's got to show us that he's the guy, but he can't do it in the regular season, right? Because Doc's reputation is playoff letdowns. That's all that Doc is, right? Hadn't he lost almost the most game 7s in history and blown the most series leads in history? Listen, Doc has to show us that, because right now, yeah, he's in the regular season, he's fixing his team, he's doing all those other different things, but at the end of the day, I think everybody's skepticism with Doc was, yeah, but what about the playoffs? What happens when it counts? What happens when it matters?
I have a take, and this is one that we take accountability on this pod, and I think just throughout this whole tenure of Doc Rivers, I think it's helped me realize it's not so much as Doc the guy, it's damn how bad was Adrian Griffin.
The
reason I say that is because once Doc finally got a grasp of this team, of a team that also consists of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, a pretty damn good team. But once he finally got them to buy in, once he finally got into that locker room and gave that speech and went one by one in the locker room, I think it changed everything. I honestly think that this is a completely different team. Now, it might have taken a couple of games to kind of get to that point. But for what I'm seeing right now, and this isn't the overreaction just because they beat the Hornets, no. I think just these past 3 games and what they've looked like, the eye test is showing me that it's more about who Adrian Griffin wasn't than who Doc is. But I also do want to see him prove me right in the playoffs.
JT, it's how you want to give a retort.
Listen, man, I understand where you're coming from. I get it, Chris, right? But again, very small sample size, right? Doc has coached, a third of the amount of games that Adrian Griffin was with this team. I think we got to put some respect on Adrian Griffin's. My whole thing is I'm going to keep some respect on Adrian Griffin's name just because, A, first-year head coach, B, he was 31-13. So, A, it wasn't ugly, right? It was a whole lot of nights. We was talking about the pretty with the gritty, right? We was talking about that. We haven't to say that in a whole lot of times. Yeah. But he was still finding ways to win. People would say, well, he got Giannis and Dame. Well, listen, so did Doc in the beginning. That was a little shaky for a little bit too, right? So, listen, I get it. Doc is a Is he a Hall of Fame? Doc may end up being a Hall of Fame coach, right? I think he's like top 10 in NBA history in wins. Pretty sure that's right.
Well, yeah, if he's not is he a Hall of Famer already?
Is he a Hall of Fame coach? I don't know. Either way, he may be, right. I think at some point, yes, he 100% will be. But Doc also has a 30-year body of work. There's no need for us to dunk on Adrian Griffin at this point because I would still argue that you know making a coaching change in the middle of the season based on what he had done and everything else is a tad goofy, right? And that is I mean, you know, it's turning into a rather auspicious start at this point, but you know, I think that was bold. I think generally speaking, that would be foolish 99.9% of the time. I think, you know, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But my point is that I think Adrian Griffin did what he could with this team. And in large part, this team is going to get a number 2 seed in large part because of Adrian Griffin and what he did. There's no question about that. Like, I mean, we can't deny that. So my point is put some respect on this man.
I mean, yeah, very grateful for
all three of you.
I'm very grateful for what AG's contributions were, but this is the thing, we didn't know that he didn't have control of the locker room, right? So that's why I think you guys in part have a little bit, or I guess me too, when this whole thing happened, was we kind of took to the defense of AG because we didn't know that was going on behind the scenes. But just look how much better this team looks once he commanded the respect of the locker room. And that was something we talked about during the press conference of Doc Rivers, is like, he's a veteran coach. He's going to have the respect of these guys. What will it look like when that happens? And it's happening, I think. So that's just my point about it.
So would you also argue, though, too, that the presence of one of his former lieutenants in Pat Bev also was helping with the locker room, since we're talking about the impact in the locker room as well? I think from a leadership position, yes, you've got Doc Rivers, but you also have another guy that's in there that can break stuff down with people, motivate people, get excited, get into people if he needs to.
Look, what I've seen from Pat Beverly so far this season is like he's a lot more deep of a basketball mind than I even could have imagined. Like, this guy is probably going to be a coach after he retires. And from what he talks about on his podcast, from what I've seen, he's been a great addition off the court. I mean, not even his contributions on the court. I think it's deeper than that. I think he knows what it's like to be on a championship-led team or a championship caliber team. And, you know, I think he brought what he knows, and I think it's a lot.
So 608 UW, excuse me, 608 UW says Chris with a shot at Trey's guy. Brenda Word said, I think she said, wow, Chris. Todd Merrill says,
he said he had to take.
Say Griffin was bad. If you went to a game and watched the interaction of the players, them yelling at Griffin, the games they won were a result of talent and having the easiest first half schedule. So in light of all that, and this is all I'll say on Griff. Again, you know, my thing on him was always it's just that he's a rookie coach. Like that was all. It wasn't that I thought Griff was like some great head coach or that he's a top 5. I think it's like a misconception with what I was talking about with Adrian Griffin or what my actual argument was for him. It was he is a rookie head coach. Yes, there will likely be bumps in the road. Like that was what I mean. That was what I was saying more so than no. He's going to be he's going to be a Hall of Fame head coach. Those words were never uttered out of my mouth. And what I always said was, I think the Bucks are going to figure this thing out down the. Seeing that it's just happening now with Doc Rivers. And the only thing I say on this for Todd is when you say you know you watch the interaction of players, them yelling at Griffin, is that on? And again, ultimately, it's on him because he was the head coach and it was his job to get it done. But I do think that a lot of that just went to the players didn't respect him. Now, again, I'm not saying that yes, ultimately the head coach is responsible for getting those guys to respect you, but he did. I just don't really think he had the chance to get their respect. They never bought into anything. Like they just did not respect the guy. He was a first-year coach. It was like the freshman coming into the senior locker. It's like being on a football team and freshman coming into the senior locker room. It doesn't matter what you do unless you have some type of body of work that precedes you. When you're the new guy on campus, they're gonna pick on you. And if people gonna pick on you, they're gonna see what you're made of. They're gonna see if you're tough or not. And again, I'm not saying it wasn't Griffin's fault or his problem that he wasn't able to figure it out. And again, he only got 40-some games, but I guess that's what I'm going with. I think it was more so there was a mutiny before he got there versus he got there and people were like, hey, let's really try and do what you have to say. Hey, this isn't working. I don't think they ever tried or ever respected him. Again, his fault, but I think some of that lies to the players and the organization as well. And again, why think about this as a player? Why would I respect the guy you bring in when the first thing you do is hire Terry Stotts, who he don't even know? So you're telling me on the first day I step in camp, John Horst, y'all don't even respect this guy. Why should I? He don't. That's not that. You don't hire you. You're putting people on the staff that he don't even like. Why would I respect him? That's all. And it showed. And it showed. And they still won, but it showed. But again, Doc Rivers is doing a great job getting that respect. That's all I have on that.
Yeah, listen, and again, and I echo your same sentiments. We never said that Griffin was a Hall of Fame coach. It was a world beater, right? We never said that he was that great, but I do think that, listen, he was getting did he get a fair shake? No, right? Because when you're the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, you were judged off of the playoffs. Let's be honest here. This team is so good in the regular season. It really doesn't matter that much what you do as long as you look, competent, right? Or above, like slightly better than competent. You're going to be okay. I just didn't think that was a fair shot where you're firing this man. And again, hopefully this is the last time we talk about this, but you fired the man, and the overall body of work, I don't think warranted making that move. Now, some of the listeners who went to the games and they saw it, and maybe they saw something different than we saw. Absolute chaos, right? A disaster down there. Guys pouting, guys looking away, towels on heads, people facing away from the coach. You get it, right? Maybe that was 100% what it was. But having said that, I agree with you. I think Doc has stabilized this locker room. And I think the addition of Pat Bev has stabilized this locker room. But also, guys, maybe, just maybe, Damian Lillard is coming out of the funk that he'd been in for a while. For a while, would it seem like, physically and maybe emotionally, mentally too. And Damian Lillard is playing a lot better because he is. And that is a big factor in all this as well.
And for the record, we're all positive right now on Doc Rivers. If they fall in the second round, if basically anything less than a championship. 100%. Do you think it's just going to be, at least, no. I'm telling you right now, we will come back to all these moments, and I promise you the national media will not be kind and say, it was a good thing. I promise you they will not. I promise you that will not happen. We will go back to these moments again. Maybe we won't say, it's Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin would have done any better, but I promise you it won't be, they should have had. Well, good thing they got Doc Rivers in there. I promise you that's not how it goes. That will not be how it goes. He is going to have to perform in the playoffs. And again, I don't know whether he will or won't, but this narrative will not die unless Doc Rivers performs in the playoffs. You can have all you want about him stabilizing the team and getting buy-in and all that. If they don't win when it counts, people will question the decision of the Milwaukee Bucks to hire him in the middle of the season. No doubt about it.
Well, correct. Shaq said it. Shaq said they coming after you. What Shaq said to Dame after the All-Star game? He said they coming after Dame, they coming after Giannis, and they coming after Doc. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. And that's true. It's 100% true. And really, it should be coming after John Horst. To be honest, John Horst that's who really should be on the hot seat, after Doc. John Horst, because this is an unprecedented thing that I think we've seen here. Yes, we saw the Cleveland Cavaliers replace David Blatt, but different scenario, and that guy got a full year before he was replaced. So yeah, this is on the front office. This is on Doc. This is on Dame. This is on Giannis if this thing doesn't work out.
Well, I think it all also just depends on matchups and who we get. Honestly, like we did see earlier. In Doc's tenure with the Bucks when the G League Heat beat us. So, we still got moments like that now. But like I said, I just think that I've seen the best Bucks basketball being played during this season in this 3-game stretch. So I think that's a big part of the reason. Doc is a big part of the reason of that.
Don't forget the Bucks did beat the Boston Celtics by 50 points. made him quit.
I forgot about that.
Remember they lost by 50 to the Cavs.
No Damian, no Damian Lillard.
No Giannis.
No Giannis. That's who it was. Let's go to some Twitter comments here before we get to game balls. At 14, Coco Chick says 3 in a row, won against an elite team on the road, sound victory on the road against a hurt team, and a complete trouncing of a bottom feeder. Yeah, they look like they are back. CJ at CJ060606 says Doc is basically Bud. He's a terrific coach whose shortcomings get accentuated in the playoffs, but who brings professionalism and order to the franchise. Those coaches can win titles if great players play great. That's a good comment. At BuckyBacker09 says both offense and defense dramatically improved post All-Star break. We see Dame hustling, Beasley getting back hard. Whoa, wait, yo, Beasley getting back hard on a turnover. How did he do that? Hey, Bradley. That's what he said. Getting back hard on a turnover. I don't know why he get back hard off a turnover.
Ayo, just the way you keep reading it, pause. Just the way you keep
I'm reading what he said.
Over that. We're going to have to pause you for a second.
I feel like you put an invisible comma in there and try to make it sound worse than it is.
Yeah. You got to. We got to pause. We got to move Trey on a 3-second timeout, man.
I'm just reading his comments. Sure, the Hornets missed shots, but Bucks made it more difficult. Downside, Ajax picked a bad time to be sick because he would have played finally. Okay, so I didn't know he was sick. At True Bucks Fan 78 says, I don't care if it was the Hornets. This is what the Bucks are supposed to look like against inferior teams, not struggling with the Detroits of the world. Put the belt to ass to remind people who the F they are. Justin from NC says Bucks are hooping tonight. It's up on Thursday. Bobby Porterstan says Bobby is back. I'm vindicated. At Willie Lundquist said Bucks said enough is enough and let's ball the F out. And then let's do one more here. Let's do a couple more here. At KK Lovin said Doc is not a top 5 coach. This is just a top tier roster that should have looked like this for a long time. Tons of low-hanging fruit for Doc to fix, which you should expect an experienced coach like him to do. To his credit, he has done that. Griff was just way over his head, tried to do too much. And this is the last one we'll do. At B Shaker says, can we not overreact, please? This game was the most thoroughly entertaining I've seen all season. Now on to why I'm really here. Nudes in the bio. So he's talking about, so you know how they have these
Twitter comments?
No, well, yeah, these like these bots that like have
yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Why do I read these before? I don't vet. I just start reading them and like.
That's hilarious. Yeah, man. Twitter. That's the thing. Like Twitter, I got all kind of like porno bots following me and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I don't even be on Twitter like that. How did you find? Like, I don't know what the algorithm is you'll find somebody who looks like, they from one of the Leas, right? So Slovakia, Czechoslovakia.
Very specific,
Yugoslavia,
JT.
one of them things,
Very
man, from over there, right? One of them Eastern European countries, and then they just literally put some crazy stuff. Trey, you had a good one. You had a comment the other day. It was like 20 comments on there, and like you had a few of them in there. I said, boy, this is OnlyFans Central.
I don't understand it. Shout out to Landon King. Said, love the show, fellas. Glad I can donate now. There you go, Landon King. Appreciate it. Donating with the super chats in there. Here we go. And then, y'all wilding out. 608 AW says, UW says Bucks After Dark is back. Or Cream City Crossover After Dark is back. Kyle and Gracine says Cream City Taxi Confessions. Y'all are and then
what was that on HBO?
That was
Taxi Cab Confessions or something. Was that Showtime?
I don't know.
I think it was Showtime. I think it was like Showtime or something.
You was up too late. Shout out to Seth Alejandrino showing some love in the super chats too. So appreciate everybody for doing that, man. Let's give out some game balls. Who are you giving your game ball out to tonight after a 123-85 victory over the Charlotte Hornets?
My game ball is going to the one and only Mr. Bobby Portis Jr.
Right.
One time for him. Yes, sir. Bobby Portis Jr. tonight, read the stat line, 9 for 16, 2 for 4 from 3, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 21 points, right? But again, Bobby Portis has scored above his season average in 7 out of 8 of the last 7 out of 7 out of 8 the last 7 out of 8 games.
Hey, I got it. Landon King said, I want JT's game balls. Hey,
Oh,
yeah.
what? Okay, all right,
I don't know who that is.
What is happening? It's going
This is definitely Bucks After Dark.
Landon King. We got to edit the podcast when we upload this thing.
Oh yeah. Now we about to get a strike. Hey, we turn on super chats. Now we gotta turn them on.
Whoa.
My God.
Anyway, man. Bobby Portis, man, gets my game ball tonight. Again, shooting above 50%, 6 of the last 8 games. Incredible effort tonight by Bobby Portis. And again, way to turn this thing around when we were down on him for the inconsistent performances previously in the season. But the Bobby that we all know, the Bobby on people's debit cards right now, right? UW Credit Union, I think that's what it is. Bobby Portis, put him on your money. Bobby Portis is back. Gets my game ball tonight.
Speaking of money, shout out to Todd Merrill bringing in. Says great show, guys, with the super chat. Hey, listen, y'all are doing the thing now. There we go. Got to celebrate our listeners and viewers here. So Todd Merrill bringing in the super chat. There we go. Everybody bringing in the super chat. We're gonna shout you out. At Ross Kopic says pause. Y'all.
Hey man, listen. Hey, Ross ain't right. Ross, we paused this thing a whole lot.
What is happening? Seth Alejandrino says, "Damn, Landon King, I was thinking the same thing."
Okay, all right. Listen.
What is happening?
Hey, the bots got you, bro. The bots got you.
The bots followed you.
They got you. They got you. What's happening? Chris, what kind of game balls you got going on?
Well, I'm gonna see in case you're going where I think you could be going here. Okay. I'm gonna let you go first, but I do have a couple guys in mind, so I'll take the other one. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So you know where I'm going. So my game ball. I'm going Doc Rivers. Rivers. Like, this was a Doc Rivers game ball to me. He deserves it. He had this team prepared. I was touting about the Charlotte Hornets for the last week about how they've been 6-5-1 the last 6, and you're gonna have to come out. You got to beat them, and not gonna roll over and die, roll over and quit. And you made him roll over and quit. So I'm gonna give Doc Rivers I think it's the first game ball Doc Rivers has gotten on this program. So that's what gets my game ball tonight. What you got, Chris?
Well, so I thought you were going for the 3 for 3 with Damian Lillard, but instead, you didn't. It's basically a collective effort, though, so it's fine. I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. I just think that he is finding ways to get his teammates more involved. He's not pouting when he misses shots. He's not missing as many shots. I think he's very comfortable on this offense, and I love seeing the new form of Damian Lillard. Look, almost had a triple-double tonight. Yeah. So, these games where he's not only filling the stat sheet with points, he's also getting the rebounds and the assists that we know he is capable of. So that's where my game ball goes. Good win.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good job. All three different game balls tonight. Let's see here. Let's look around the NBA, look around some sports here, and listen, man. We can get out of here in less than an hour if we don't monkey around these last 10 minutes here. 123. I know it is.
It is.
We got too much to say.
It always is. 123-85. Bucks beat the Hornets. The Trailblazers are up by 10 on the Heat at the half. The Thunder beat the Thunder's up 10 on the Rockets right now at the half. Golden State 30-27 now, 123-112 over the Wizards. Magic beat the Nets. The Cavaliers, Landon King's wild right now. He said, "Can we talk about Max Strus stroking it from deep tonight?" Max Strus, to his credit, y'all wilding, but to his credit, Max Strus hit he was 7-10 from 3. He hit a game winner from past half court to win the game for Cleveland when they were down against the Mavericks. So he was indeed stroking it from deep, and
sir,
he was. That was just stroking. Seth Alejandro says also got that nice D tonight as well. Y'all are wilding. I don't know.
Okay, that doesn't. That one is a stretch.
Y'all are uncalled for right now.
We violate guidelines here, then we're done for. I'm just kidding. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I love you. You guys know what I used to do on TikTok, right? We might have to go into a story time here soon about the whole Richard Jefferson.
Go to a story time. You know what? Why don't we just share it with the people.
This is like a Chris King TikTok. TikTok famous.
This is my community, right? Okay, maybe not that far, but this is my fan base, right? This is what I bring. Some of the analogies in basketball, I was one of the first people to point out how wrong they sound. And
give us an example.
Oh, yeah. I love how Jason Tatum sucks in the D when he penetrates, stuff like that. So, okay, that might be
Who
bad.
said that? Shaq?
I know. I
Who
said that.
that?
I said that.
No,
I said
he
that.
said that.
So,
Okay, you
so,
said that.
so ultimately, guys, like I made a TikTok account. This is why Cream City Crossover TikTok page has so many followers, right? Because I was going crazy. Now nobody wants to show love. I get it, whatever. But, but I made a video, a duet to Richard Jefferson. Actually, I think he's one of the few national media guys that I actually like. Like I don't think he treats the Bucks as unfair as the others. So I made a video and I kind of asked him some questions and made it sound funny, made it sound wrong, and so yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's kind of why there's people in the chat doing this.
The Richard Jefferson thing was funny too.
Did he see it?
Yeah, he replied. He did a duet.
Yeah, he did a duet.
Yeah, it was good.
I'll send it to you.
Keep it rolling. Pels 115-92 over the Knicks. The Celtics beat the Sixers. Hawks beat the Jazz. The Pistons beat the Bulls. They come back after what happened to them last night against the Knicks, where they really got cheated. And then the Timberwolves beat the Spurs 114-105. I did want to wanted to ask you guys, did you see a couple things? I want to ask you guys about court storming. Wake Forest beat the Duke Blue Devils the other night, and here's the thing. So Duke, it was Kyle Filipowski is walking off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest gets the dub. You see the guys court storm. I see the fans and the kids court storm. Now to me looked like he was kicking his leg out, like he was trying to push some people, and he ended up getting his leg caught up in there. Afterwards, the coach as well as Kyle, they didn't know what body part was injured, because one guy was saying his ankle, another guy said it was his knee. I don't know. So again, I think a lot of crybabies. And you got Jay Billis going on ESPN saying that they should have detained everybody on the floor and arrested everybody that night. Again, I lived in Winston-Salem a long time. I don't know how big the jails are there to get all that. I don't know if that would have happened. It's a small town now. So I don't know how that would have gone. But
try that in a small town, right?
Okay, Jason Aldean. But yeah, what do you guys think on court storming? Will it be banned? Do you like it? Is it college athletics at a premium? Like what do you want to see there?
So I think I hate it, right? I'm becoming an old man. I absolutely hate it, right? And the reason why I hate it is because I do think there's a player safety issue. There's a significant player safety issue, court storming, and listen, you got a bunch of fans, a lot of which have been drinking, players walking off the court. There's always the opportunity for somebody to do something stupid, and there's a ton of YouTube videos where you can see it, where there's different events in football, basketball, you name it. Fans have rushed the field, and there's been incidents that have occurred. So. Listen, I think, is it the SEC? Somebody gets fined, I think $100,000 every time somebody. Yeah, I think it's the SEC, right? So they get fined every time somebody does it. Which, I mean, listen, if you're a Mississippi State and you knock off a Kentucky, right? Kentucky's good. You happily pay that, right? Good press for your school, good vibes, good atmosphere. Everybody's excited about that. But I do think you have to do a little bit more. There's a way to contain it. The NBA does it. Is it better stadium security? Maybe. Is it you let people court storm maybe 5 minutes after the game, or 2-3 minutes after the game, or 2 minutes after the game, or something like that? I mean, listen, like I'm just saying, I'm thinking of something. I'm scared of the comments. Is what I'm scared at.
They cooking you in the comments right now.
Oh, they are.
Well, first off, Brenda Word. Shout out to Brenda Word, who also came in with the super chat. Says just because you guys are funny as hell, appreciate you, Brenda. But yeah, they're basically calling you soft, JT.
How they calling me soft?
Come on, JT. Kyle and Racine, of course, JT says get off my line, be cold and boo. So yeah, they're not happy about your thoughts on storming the court.
I really don't like the press that it's been getting. I think the national media guys are getting this wrong. I think Gary Parrish went on CBS Sports Network, talked about it. I think Jay Billis got it way wrong, just being a boomer. And the only reason I think he was mad is because Duke lost.
It's Duke, yeah.
So I think Kyle Filipowski should have had more of awareness. In most of these situations, they need to have more awareness of just getting the hell out of there. Look, this is a big Wake Forest win. This is a win that puts them over the bubble, over the hump, and now they can control their own destiny to get in the field of 68. And I had no problem with the court storm. I have no problem with court storms in general. I think that's what makes college basketball so special in itself. So, I totally disagree with you, JT. I'm on my Jeff Orlovsky.
You could be on your Jeff. Listen, here's the thing I will say, right? For the longest time, the college basketball experience was a lot more entertaining than the NBA experience, because when you watch these college basketball games, you see a bunch of people just going absolutely crazy for 40 minutes. And you guys remember when Duke and Carolina would play, and the camera would literally be shaking because everybody is jumping up and down in that arena, so hyped. And you would literally be like, damn, the picture's shaking right now because of all these bodies just jumping up and down, right? That's the experience that I think you want to see. You remember for perfect example, when the Carolina players inbound the ball. Have you seen that picture when the Carolina players inbound the ball and all the Duke fans having their hands in that man's face? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think you've wanted to capture in college basketball for so long. And I have no problem with that. Having said that, though, listen, if you're going to storm the courts, you got to find a way to get the players out of there, though. You 100% do. I mean, and this isn't a new issue. I think you can't tell me that 2024 is the first year where coaches have said, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea, right? Maybe this isn't the safest thing for these players, especially the guys on the road.
But notice how all the people saying it are the losing teams, all the teams who lose. And
notice the easiest way to not have anybody storm the court: win the game. How about that? How about that? How about you win? How about you as the better team go out and beat Wake Forest, and that win ain't storming the court on you? How about with 1 second to go, instead of keeping your guys on the floor, call a timeout and get them off because the game is over? But somehow, of course, typical Duke fashion, they somehow think they could have got a foul. Some guy could have got back into the game because that's how Duke rolls. No, you're going to lose. Get the guys off the floor. And again, like you said, Chris, awareness. The game is over. Why are you moseying off the floor, head down? You're upset.
So let me ask y'all this question then. Go
ahead.
Do you get rid of the whack-ass handshake line?
You
don't
get rid of the whack-ass handshake.
It's not in the NBA
that's
either.
the case. I think that allows you to be a little bit more situationally aware and say, hey, we out of here. We out of here. Coach can look at his guys. Hey, we out of here. As soon as this thing happens, we're going to jog about this thing because we know they about to rush the court, right? Like, but you keep this handshake line here. I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's things that coaches can do, right? Because it seems like getting adequate security is probably a little too much of an ask, not to take anything away from anyone. But I think when you look at some of the yellow jackets in some of these arenas, right, I'm not sure you look real inspired at the collegiate level.
Top flight security of the world.
Right, exactly. This is Craig and Day Day. This is Craig. This is Craig, Day Day. And what's a real senior name? Like Randolph or something, right? Right. It's Craig, Day, and Randolph, right?
Colin Racine says he's disappointed more Duke players didn't get hurt. It's a lot of Duke hate in the comments. So we'll see. Ross Comics says, JT, I'll rush you in real life. Okay, y'all talking crazy. Y'all talking crazy right now.
These people
y'all wild in the chat right now. I love it. I love it. The Cream City crossover is getting late. People talking crazy. One more before we get out of here. Did you guys see? Have you ever heard of the TSP crew? You ever heard of them?
This is what you want. You were waiting all day to talk about it. Go ahead.
Former NFL quarterback Cam Newton was involved in a brawl in a 7-on-7 youth camp on Sunday. Incident took place at an invitation-only camp and tournament over the weekend in Atlanta. Authorities have not been reached for comment, but the event was organized by WeBall Sports, an apparel and sports media company that Cam Newton runs, with C1N, a youth sports organization that was sponsored, the sponsor team in the tournament. Basically, what you see is this TSP crew trying to jump Cam Newton. Apparently, this was over Cam Newton talking trash to the guys or whatever it was. And I mean, you see Cam just throwing guys right and left. I mean, he did it in the most. He kept his hat on the whole time. It was as professional of I never seen a guy get jumped by 5 or 6 guys. And the crazy thing is, remember when this was first reported, people thought that like Cam was fighting kids. No, grown men. People thought these were like the campers that were fighting Cam. That's how much bigger Cam Newton was than everybody out there was trying to fight him. He was throwing grown men up out the club with his hat on. And again, he did it. Here's the thing. You think he could throw in guys like that? You don't think he could have thrown a couple haymakers and knocked somebody out? But no, you ain't trying to get. You don't want to go. What was man who buddy from the Saints that just got breaking orbital bones and stuff? What was the man's
Kamara?
name? Because you don't want to go Kamara.
In the elevator?
Right, then you got to pay fines. You got to pay court fees. You got to pay all. No. I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna just throw you around, make you look stupid, and then walk off. So again, these guys. Why are you upset at Cam Newton? And that's the other thing. The funny thing about this is, and I'll leave it right here and then let you guys give me your thoughts. The funny thing is, you have so many people in the media who go, why? Because you've seen all the clips of Cam being disrespected to these camps. And number one, he's trying to give something back to the community. You don't have to do this, but he's doing it to give back to the community. But you see all the clips of players and teenagers and people just disrespecting Cam Newton. And it's so funny to me because this is like one of the first times the media now in retirement is on Cam Newton's side, right? Like, can't believe this is happening. And the funny thing is they say things like that. Like, I can't believe that's how he's being treated. Why are you treating Cam Newton like this? He's a former MVP. All this stuff about Cam Newton. Do you know why they treat Cam Newton like this? Because that's the media did to him when he was playing. So you never gave him his flowers when he was playing for 10 plus. It was always trashing and dumping on Cam Newton at every single turn. And you surprised now that in retirement that you got people who do the same thing that you were doing. And now the media's like, man, that's crazy. Can you believe they treat him like that? That's what you were doing to him. So you didn't show him any respect when he was playing. That's why you got people who are disrespecting him now, because they don't do this at Eli Manning's camp. They don't do this at Peyton Manning's camp. They don't do this at some of the other camps you see, but they're doing it at Cam Newton's camp and to Cam Newton. I don't understand it. I don't think it should happen, but I think everybody should be held responsible. And again, I think it's one. I'm glad, like you saw Kevin Durant the other day roll up on some people who tried to call him a B word into his face. No, let's show you what professional athletes can do to you in real life if you really run up on them, because that's what happens 9 times out of 10.
Well, what's wild about this is that, and it cuts across different demographic lines, right? You're right. You don't see Manning. You don't see either Mannings get disrespected. You don't see Drew Brees. You don't even see Lamar Jackson getting disrespected at his camps, right? Like, you just don't see this, but you see these clips with Cam, and I think some of it is because he's accessible. I think it's his personality, right? He loves to joke. He loves to be around the people. I think Cam genuinely likes the energy. But yeah, these kids test Cam. They've been doing this. I mean, there's clips from 5 years ago when kids have been doing this, and they continue to do this at this point. And so the first thing I would say is, you never want Cam to change who he is, not. And I think there's genuinely he's probably got a good heart. Really does seem like he really wants to give back and wants to give people opportunities. But I think that, Cam, you may have to carry yourself a little bit differently at these camps around grown adults, right? That's the sad part about it. And then the second thing is, did you see these fools from TSP go on the radio and literally put their foot in their mouths talking about he was talking all this trash and he just made me? And I said, man, listen, guys, I see some sensitive ass men. Listen, man, I ain't gonna really get into this, but it's okay to have feelings. But listen, it's one thing to have feelings and be upset about something. It's another thing to be deep in your feelings about absolutely nothing. They were mad at Cam because he was talking trash. Apparently they were talking trash too. There were videos. And my man with the braids, right? My man with the braids that went over there and threw that sucker punch at Cam, and Cam was throwing that man around like a racial slur in March. Yeah, Cam was throwing Buddy around. Man, you seen that, right? The way he was right up off them. Yeah. You, hey man, deport yourself. Right, just leave. Go change. Go somewhere. Convert to Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. Go ahead and pick one. Come back, find a higher power, and reevaluate yourself. Look in the mirror, because you look crazy.
I'm trying to figure out when guys get beat up, thrown around in the fight, and then they start talking. Like, I remember back in school, if you lost the fight, you didn't come to school the next day. Like, these people are so thirsty to get on the internet, they run right to they want. I've never seen anything like it. Since when is that cool? I lose fights, and now I want to be the first one talking. I know why they did it, because they know Cam got a podcast, and they know Cam Newton, when he tell his story, it's going to go crazy. They wanted to jump the gun. But anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit it on the head. I think it's very weak to just go on a podcast right after just literally being caught in 4K, getting thrown in the bush. I think.
Was they on a podcast or radio? I think they was on
maybe
radio.
I think it was radio, something like that. Radio. But I also think, yeah, I mean, just immature stuff. They could easily just talk it out. I mean, maybe you don't, maybe it's just too grown to be arguing about a kid's game. I think it's the same thing with Aqib Talib's situation. I wouldn't say same thing because there's obviously weapons involved and stuff. So at least they put the guns down. But it's just like really like I just think it's kind of weak. So. But
I think the only reason why I didn't lead to that is because there was a police officer that came over and looked like he wanted to help that man out, and everybody kind of chilled out at that point. But that's the thing. I'm really glad that did not happen because you and I both know, all of us know, how these things typically end. Right? It starts out with fists. It may start out with pushing and shoving. Right? When somebody's feelings get hurt, they get real emotional, and they're gonna go out there and try to get the last word, last action in, and then you have a really unfortunate story. So yeah, I think Cam's got to move a little bit differently, right? Because the folks you're dealing with, right, they're not on your same wavelength, and now you put yourself in danger. Depending on how things are playing out.
And a lot of jealousy. People are jealous because and it is what it is, and that's what happens sometimes. You try to give back to your own community, and those are the people to be hating the most. Any last thoughts? 123-85 victory. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Charlotte Hornets tonight on the road. They were at home. They go on the road next Thursday night to play the same Charlotte Hornets team again. Try to get another victory before a Friday night brawl with the Chicago Bulls. It starts at 10 o'clock Eastern. I don't know why. I don't understand these Midwestern games. They're starting so late. But it is what it is. Any last thoughts tonight on a big-time victory for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Belt to ass, belt to ass, belt to ass. Keep saying it because we're going to keep seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that they played really well tonight. We talked about them, the efforts there that we've been talking about. Doc has lit a fire into these guys. The article that came out, really eye-opening because we saw the results of that, the little conversation he had with everybody about not letting everybody get loose. So yeah, I just love the way this team's trending, and we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, let's leave it right there. I don't have much to say. Bucks absolutely took care of business. Let's do that again Thursday. Let's keep these wins going because, as you said, John, I think a little bit earlier, the schedule does tighten up, and it will. You'll see some more formidable opponents after we get into the month of March after you play the Chicago Bulls on the 1st. Appreciate everybody for watching, listening to the show. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend about the Cream City crossover. All the likes, we appreciate them. We like the super likes, the super chats. You guys were in it and doing it tonight. So again, we appreciate that 100%. Keep it coming. Again, tell a friend about the Cream City crossover after every single game. We are right here at the Cream City crossover, giving you post-game coverage. Bucks win it 123-85. We want to thank our sponsors tonight. When you need defense off the court, call the law office of Daley M. Johnson. He's giving you criminal defense, traffic, and OWI defense, TROs, and injunctions at 608-893-8370. The law office of Daley M. Johnson will get you right. Again, we'll be back on Thursday night. I'll be at the game in Charlotte against the Hornets. So Chris King and John Tyus will have you right on the post-game show Thursday night. Yeah, man, let's keep this thing rolling. This has been a Cream City Media Group production. Don't take no wooden nickels.